Okay, so imagine this. It's 2011, you're in an elevator pitch at Amazon Studios, and you have 30 seconds. You turn to the executive and you just say 3 words. Zombies versus gladiators.
And in 2011, that executive probably just opens a briefcase full of money and says, go make your movie.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are dusting off a real lost artifact of Hollywood. This isn't a movie you can go stream, it's a screenplay. What could have been called Zombies vs. Gladiators.
This was written by a duo called Brothers Inc., Donovan and Adam Monteith for Amazon way back when they were just getting into making their own content.
And it's such a perfect time capsule of that era, isn't it? This was the absolute peak of the high-concept mashup.
Oh, absolutely. You had Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter, Cowboys and Aliens, Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. It was everywhere.
The formula was simple, you know? Take something historical, add a monster, and hope for the best. But this script, it wasn't aiming to be a cheap B movie.
No, the writers themselves said they wanted a huge adventure. They were thinking more like Raiders of the Lost Ark or The Mummy.
Exactly. This was meant to be a massive 4-quadrant summer blockbuster. I mean, the scale of the set pieces in this thing is just, it's wild. War elephants, underwater zombie fights.
Armies of the dead storming the Roman Senate. It's huge.
So that's our mission for this deep dive. We're going to walk you through this unmade blockbuster, visualize the craziest moments, and maybe figure out, did we miss out on a classic or did we dodge a bullet?
It's a very fine line. Let's find out.
Okay, so Act 1, we have to start with the setting. It's 300 AD Rome, the Colosseum, bustling markets, and right away we meet our heroes. And I say heroes, plural, because it's all about the brotherhood.
Literally, you've got Titus and Tiberius. Titus is your classic hero. He's this hulking, honorable champion.
The brawn.
A brawn, exactly. And then you have his brother, Tiberius, who is smaller, much wittier. He's the brains of the operation.
And the script does a great job showing their bond right away. They're not nobles. They're basically grifters running a race scam in the market to make money.
It's a classic screenwriting trick, you know. It shows you they're clever, they're a team, and you immediately like them because they feel like underdogs just trying to get by.
But you can't have fun for too long in a movie like this. Enter the villain, Caesar Flavius.
Yeah.
And this guy, he is not subtle.
Not at all. He's just pure, power-hungry cruelty. He catches the brothers in their scam, and for his own amusement, he forces them into a fight to the death right there in the street.
And this is the inciting incident. He throws 2 swords on the ground. But this is where the script takes a really dark turn. Tiberius, the smaller brother, he refuses to fight. He says, I would sooner die.
And Flavius just kills him, no hesitation, stabs him right there.
It's a huge shock.
Yeah.
Or maybe 15 minutes in, and one of our main characters is just gone. Titus, of course, goes crazy, gets knocked out, and is enslaved as a gladiator.
But that death, it's not just for shock value. It's what kicks off the whole supernatural plot.
Right, because Flavius isn't just a tyrant. He's also an occultist. We cut to this place called the Tomb of Orcus, the god of the dead.
And he's making a pact. He wants an invincible army, and the sacrifice he offers to this dark god is Tiberius's body.
So the emotional core of the story, this brotherhood, is now directly tied to the supernatural threat.
Exactly. Tiberius becomes patient zero. He's resurrected as the very first zombie. But he's not a slow, shuffling zombie. He's fast, feral, monstrous.
And Flavius gets his prize from the deal, the Bracer of Orcus. It's this armband that lets him control the undead.
So now the villain literally has a remote-control zombie version of the hero's dead brother. I mean, that's just psychologically brutal. It raises the stakes so much.
Okay, let's jump to Act 2. Titus is now in the Colosseum, living the gladiator life. He has no idea about any of the zombie stuff yet. He's building a new team.
And it's a great little ensemble. You got Marcus, the wisecracking redhead, Lucius, a huge brawler, this giant named Octavius, and Lavinia, a female gladiator who is in there because she refused the emperor's advances.
I like the detail where Titus carves a notch in his arm after every fight. Not for the kill, but to honor the soul of his opponent.
It's heavy foreshadowing. Death is just part of the job for them.
So Flavius decides it's time for a show, the Festival of Lemuria. And he pits Titus against this mystery opponent, the Demon of Rome.
And of course, they wheel out a cage, drop the sides, and it's zombie Tiberius.
Titus sees him, recognizes him instantly, and just drops his sword. He refuses to fight.
And that's the pivot. The movie goes from a gladiator story to a full-on horror survival. His team jumps in to save him.
They think it's just some feral man. They try to stab him, but nothing happens. He just keeps coming.
Until he bites Octavius, the giant. And this is where the script shows us the rules. The infection is immediate. Octavius drops dead, his neck snaps, and a second later, he's up. He's a zombie.
So now there are two of them in the arena, and from there, it just explodes. The chaos spills into the crowd. A guard gets bitten, then a senator.
I love that part. The whole point of the Colosseum is containing the violence, but the virus doesn't care. It climbs right up into the expensive seats.
And in all that chaos, zombie Octavius leaps into the Imperial box and bites Flavius himself.
Right. But here's the twist. Because Flavius is wearing the magic bracer, he turns into a zombie, but he keeps his intelligence. He becomes a zombie general.
Oh, but there's another detail. During the fight, his pinky finger gets cut off, the one with the Imperial ring.
The very one. And who just happens to be there to pick it up? Senator Quintus.
Quintus, the political snake. He sees his boss become a monster, and his first thought is to grab the ring of power.
It's brilliant. You've got the supernatural monster in Flavius, and now you have the purely political monster in Quintus. Even in a zombie apocalypse, someone's looking for a promotion.
So Rome is falling. This brings us to Act 3, which is where the blockbuster budget really shows up. Titus and his surviving crew run into Quintus.
And they strike a deal, get him to the Senate so he can take control, and he'll grant them their freedom. Standard stuff.
But to get through the zombie-filled streets, they don't take a chariot.
No, they do not. This is probably the coolest scene in the whole script. They unleash the war elephants.
Zombies vs. war elephants. That is the movie right there. The script describes these armored elephants just plowing through hordes of zombies.
It's so visceral. The zombies are swarming up the sides of the elephants, and Titus has to, scrape them off against the side of a building. It's insane.
They eventually smash through some statues of Flavius and make it to the Senate. But it's not safe. Zombie Flavius has surrounded the building. It's a siege.
So they have to escape again, this time through a secret tunnel. And this leads to another great set piece where they're rolling flaming oil barrels at the zombies chasing them.
Of course, you have to have flaming zombies.
It's a rule.
They get out through a grate and have to find a place to hide. They break into this lavish building and realize too late that it's a high-end brothel.
And this scene is just, it's pure B-movie horror meets dark comedy. They wander into the spa area. It's all steamy, and there are these beautiful women in the pool.
Who are, of course, all zombies.
Yep. Which leads to an underwater fight scene in a Roman bath. Titus and Lavinia end up using spiked bondage collars from the wall to chain the zombies to a pillar and sink them.
It's so bizarre, but it ends tragically. Marcus, the funny redhead, gets bitten.
Yeah. And Lucius, his best friend, has to be the one to put him down. It's a heavy moment. It really signals that the fun part is over.
The remaining group finally makes it to the Aurelian walls, the edge of the city. Quintus takes command of the army, and we hit Act 4.
And this is where it gets surprisingly political. They're safe, they're outside the walls, but Quintus, he doesn't want to save the city. He wants to burn it to the ground, kill everyone inside.
He literally says, "I will be the emperor who saved Rome." He wants the legacy.
But Titus knows the outbreak is magical. He argues that if they can destroy the source, the bracer, they can save the people still trapped inside.
It's this great clash. The politician who wants a brutal, simple victory versus the hero who wants to actually solve the problem.
Quintus gives Titus 24 hours to prove his theory, but it's a trap. Titus, Lavinia, and Lucius gear up in what the script calls Roman tactical gear and sneak back into the city.
It's very Black Ops. They meet this sniveling acolyte named Arius who confirms the bracer's the source. But then Quintus's men ambush them.
He never planned on letting them succeed. He needs the war for his own glory. Lucius sacrifices himself to save Titus, gets bitten, and is eventually killed by a sympathetic centurion.
So now Titus has lost everyone. It's just him and Lavinia against the world.
And that leads to the final battle. The Roman legion attacks the palace, where zombie Flavius is waiting.
And Flavius has a trap. He's buried thousands of zombies in the hillside. So when the legion charges, the ground just erupts with undead soldiers from below.
It's a total slaughter. While that's happening, Titus, Lavinia, and Quintus all end up in the tomb of Orcus for the final showdown.
Titus manages to cut off Flavius's arm, the one with the bracer, and you think, okay, it's over.
But it's a monster movie. There's always one last transformation.
Right. The spirit of Orcus leaves the bracer and possesses Flavius directly. He turns into this giant flesh monster, literally grafting limbs from other corpses onto his own body.
It's pure body horror. He opens a pit to the underworld, banshees fly out. It's the whole 9 yards.
Titus is about to be defeated, but then he hears his brother's voice, "A champion is here." That gives him the strength for one last move, and he beheads the monster.
And just like that, the pit closes. Outside, all the zombies go limp and stupid. The magical threat is over.
But the human threat is still standing. Quintus picks up a sword.
He's about to kill them both and take all the credit. I'll tell everyone I slew the god.
And this is Lavinia's big moment. She just steps up and stabs Quintus through the heart.
Her final line is perfect. She just says, "This is the new Rome."
It's a great ending. The old corrupt systems are gone. Titus and Lavinia leave to find a quiet life. The city can heal.
This being a Hollywood script, there's a sequel hook.
There always is. Back in the tomb, that sniveling acolyte Arius is still there. He sees the severed arm with the bracer of Orcus on the ground.
He picks it up, and the last line of the movie is him saying, "Why be an emperor when I can be a god?" Fade to black.
So classic. So looking back on this whole crazy ride, what's the takeaway here? Why does this script work so well on the page?
I think it's the balance. You have a genuinely tragic, emotional story with the two brothers at its core. That gives it weight, but it also just fully embraces the ridiculous, pulpy spectacle of it all.
It's Gladiator meets Evil Dead.
Exactly. And the central idea works because gladiators are already treated as disposable. The zombies just make that metaphor literal. They're already living in a world of violent death.
That's a great point. Which brings us to our final thought. The zombies are scary, sure, they're monsters. But the human villain, Quintus, he was willing to massacre an entire city just to build his own legacy.
It really makes you ask, in a world where leaders sometimes seem willing to create chaos just for political gain, who are the real monsters? The mindless ghouls or the calculating men who claim they're doing it all for your own good?
Something to chew on. Thanks for listening to this deep dive.
See you next time.